All right, I want to bring in my guest who's been following closely on this, Sean Sparling, the president of Investigative Solutions and a retired deputy chief from the Sault Ste. Marie Police Service. Good to have you with us, Sean. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Todd.
What do you make of this story now and this twist? Finally, we have the person responsible, according to Toronto Police.
Well, this is a really big day for the family and for the Toronto Police Service. That's an incredible piece of police work Toronto Police did, and I'm quite happy that they've closed this. It's quite a piece of closure for the family, and quite frankly, the entire community in the country. This is quite an infamous case.
Yeah, 36 years and counting. Can I ask you about the genetic genealogy, which I wrote down here? That's going to get a lot of people interested in sort of the use of that, which the police were saying brings a potential family linkage to a DNA sample.
Yes, like the Toronto Police was saying, that is fairly new technology, and again, excellent police work to stay abreast of these new emerging technologies. I've heard of it being used in the States. I've heard it in Canada as well. It's certainly going to be the topic of a conversation at the next homicide conference type. And the use of it is also, you see, they went to great lengths to talk about the privacy concerns that they're trying to allay in this as well. So you'll hear the privacy side of it being raised as well.
Obviously, DNA testing is not new. I'm curious why it took so long. Can I ask you that?
From what I'm hearing is that probably the sample they had from the victim was probably such that it couldn't be in the national data bank. It wasn't of sufficient quality. And so they've gone to this genetic genealogy and they identified a suspect, and they took a sample, or they had a sample in the possession of the Center for Forensic Sciences and compared it directly to the victim sample. And so it was probably not such quality that could be in the national data bank waiting for a hit. So it actually had to have a sample-to-sample comparison.
What are the implications, Sean, from your point of view, you know, in the policing you did and the investigative work you do now, when we start talking about things like genetic genealogy?
Well, you're going to see a lot of these cold case units turn to this technology. This is going to be like a new emerging technology for Canadian law enforcement. You're going to see a lot of the cold case units where they have unsolved homicides, unsolved serial rapist cases. They're going to be turning to this technology to look at it for sure.
Yeah, and I'm also curious as well about some of the policing that happened at the time, and you know, the idea of Guy-Paul Morin, who was falsely accused of this, and eventually, after a lengthy process, cleared of all of it, when in fact it turned out to be somebody who was known to the family, in fact a neighbor who he and his wife didn't live too far away from the family of Christine Jessup as well, and what that kind of says.
Well, I grew up in the era of policing through the Kaufman inquiry and then the inquiries of the Bernardo cases. This is where modern policing in Canada was developed as post these events. And so a lot of the major case management and how Center for Forensic Sciences handles cases was all predicated on the work that was done based on the errors in Guy-Paul Morin and some other cases. So this is a hallmark case that really changed the way policing is handled in Canada.
Hey, good to have you back with us, and really appreciate you taking the time as always, Sean.
Thank you very much.
All right, there we go. So Christine Jessup's killer has finally been identified since 1984, a man by the name of Calvin Hoover, who passed away in 2015. We'll keep our eye on that, have more analysis as well for you throughout the day.